Good evening and welcome to Just Event Online Weekend News at 9. I am Rashidat Muraino. The news headlines. Tinubu directs completion of abandoned projects in Niger Delta. Federal government under fire as NNPC confirms refineries not working. Honorable Ahmed Aluko empowers 600 verified farmers with fertilizer support in Ilorin East and South. Reps move to strip president of power to appoint INEC chair. Senate awaits judgment CTC on Natasha's recall, spokesperson says. Kwara is bleeding and government is complicit. Kwara alternative raises alarm over escalating insecurity. Kwara South Senate 2027 market leaders back call for zoning to Igbomina Aziz. Climate change may deepen Nigerian debt crisis, says IMF. Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has said it has directed the completion of some abandoned projects in Niger Delta region. Tinubu reaffirmed the significance of the Niger Delta region to the country's economic prosperity, describing it as the goose that leads the golden eggs. Tinubu stated this at the plenary session of the 25th anniversary celebration of the Niger Delta Development Commission held in Port Harcourt on Saturday. Opposition leaders on Saturday criticized President Bola Tinubu administration following remarks by the leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which cast serious doubts on the viability of the country's refineries despite the billions invested in their rehabilitation. On Thursday, the president of Dangote Group, Aluko, stated that the Port Harcourt, Wari and Kaduna refineries might never resume operations even after about $18 billion has been spent on their turnaround. In a continued effort to boost food security and support grassroots development, Honorable Dr. Ahmed Aluko, member representing Ilorin East South Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, has facilitated the distribution of fertilizers to 600 verified farmers in his constituency. The event, held earlier today at his constituency office in Songo, Ilorin, was aimed at strengthening local agricultural productivity and empowering farmers ahead of the new planting session. Represented at the event by Honorable Abdullahi Galadima, Honorable Aluko emphasized its commitment to improving the lives of farmers and ensuring food sufficiency within the constituency and the state at large. Also in attendance was his aide, Alhaji Karim Razak Akebe. Speaking during the distribution, the APC chairman of Ilorin South Local Government, Honorable Abdul Hakim Jaji, lauded the initiative, stressing that only genuine farmers were selected to benefit. Jaji said, the intention was to empower our farmers so that we can fill the constituency and Kwara State at large.
Local chairman identify local government Ilorin East àti Ilorin South. Tabasiwo a rí pé lẹ́nu ìjẹta àná wọ́n ti wá wo oko àwapọ̀ kan. Síbẹ̀ ní àbí ẹ̀kọ́ tí ó fi testify sí pé àgbèlè tẹ́ ní àfi àwọn tí wọ́n fún tí wọ́n tà ẹni tí ó nídìí ẹ̀wù rí ẹni tí ó tà ní wọ́n kàn fẹ́ irú ìjọba bẹ́ẹ̀.
The distribution exercise is part of Honorable Aluko brother effort to uplift the agricultural sector and ensure sustainable livelihood for rural farmers in Kwara State.
Alhaji Torekari, Ilorin East Local Government. So that was the fún wa ní fertilizer láti fi ṣe oko àti fẹ́ fi dá oko ní àti dúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín kálukú ọlọ́run máa tẹ̀ wá síwájú fún oore ńlá ńlá tó ń ṣe fún wa torí oko yìí fertilizer ṣe àfi ń ṣe ìgbéraga fún ìkòkò wa tí ó bá fertilizer kan ò lè dáadáa wọn adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn ọlọ́run máa tẹ̀ wá síwájú wọn fún wa ní fertilizer yìí láláì gba kọ́bọ̀ láláì gba tọ́rọ́ lọ́wọ́ wa adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn ọlọ́run máa tẹ̀ wá síwájú kò ní wọ́n ṣe sí o wọn rẹ̀ wọn bọ̀ dáadáa ọlọ́run.
The House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review is considering a bill seeking to amend the Constitution to reform the mode of appointing the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission by involving the National Judicial Council. The Electoral Reform Committee, headed by the late Chief Justice of Nigeria, Muhammad Uwas, in 2007, recommended constitutional amendments that will exclude INEC from a political inflation of the executive arm of government in terms of its composition and funding. The Senate has said it cannot reseat Senator Natasha until it receives and reviews the satisfied true copy of the court judgment in the case involving her and Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The chairman of the State Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, made this known in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria on Sunday in Abuja. The civic movement, the Kwara Alternative, has issued a powerful public statement condemning the Kwara State government alleged inaction and complexity in the face of rising insecurity, killings and kidnappings across the state, particularly the Kwara North. Speaking at a press conference held in Ilorin, the group publicity secretary, Abdulyakin Mohammed Bashir, delivered a searing address titled, "We Raise Our Voice for the Dead, the Kidnapped and the Abandoned," outlining the scale of atrocity and accusing Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak for legalized neglect. According to the group, intelligence from March 2025 revealed that Zamfara bandits has regrouped in Bani, Karama local government, but the Kwara State Police Command allegedly buried the report while the state government ignored it. Now, we are digging graves instead of preparing rescue missions, Bashir stated. The group cited multiple recent attacks, including Lafiaji attacked twice within 24 hours. Babala and Ilorin Tele overruled by bandits. Patigi, Red PDP World Chairman, Alhaji Abdullahi Shehu Kuntu, its son and other victim, Timothy Paul, were killed. A 12-year-old girl aborted and still missing. Communities forced to raise up 200 million in ransom, including cash, fuel, and energy oil. While these strategies month, the groups condemned the state spending over 800 million on ad sponsorships for appointees. There is money for religious tourism, but not for security, Bashir added. They also took a swap at Kwara North political figures, accusing them of betraying their people in pursuit of 2027 governorship. Their ambition is stained with blood, the statement read. The Kwara Alternative issued several demands to Governor Abdulrazak and the federal government: immediate return of the governor of Kwara to lead security efforts physically, a mass peaceful protest in Ilorin if leadership remains absent, deployment of military and tactical security forces to the most affected local government areas, creation of a Kwara State Security and Victim Relief Fund, a live public address from the governor detailing strategy and accountability, a judicial probe into the suppression of March 2025 intelligence, declaration of a state of emergency on security in the Kwara State by the federal government.
We are not being backrolled by anyone. We just felt a sense of responsibility that we cannot fold our hand while the state comes. You see, the issue of governor meeting the security and the state's agent meeting the security is not the solution. The governor must take responsibility. The government were notified through a press release some weeks ago about the incident in class where students have been raped and harassed. Yet, I think the government coerced the management of the school to rebuild that press release that it was a lie. So unfortunately, everything contained in that press release is not denying the allegation laid against the government on insecurity happening in that axis of the state. You see, where we have students studying and some other economic activities, we cannot just close our eyes and say we will not prioritize the security situation of that place. So it is worrisome that the governor finds solace in staying away from Kwara while the state is being ravaged by insecurity. Kwasu is a very important location in Kwara State. Parents are now withdrawing their wards and children because of the fear of insecurity. I think some months ago, a hostel was busted and female students were raped. What if those students happens to be our sisters? What if they happen to be our future wife? We must protect anyone irrespective of the opposition or of the I don't know how to mention it. Yes, of the no, not even the relationship of the camp we belong to. Everyone must be protected. The government is not a government of a certain political party, but a government of the people. So that is why we are calling the government to take responsibility in every form and manner to see that insecurity in Kwara.
They ended with a rallying call to all Kwarans, marketswomen, farmers, students, elders, and youth to rise, speak up, and resist silence. Bad leadership thrives when good people whisper. Let your voice shake the system, the group declared. To the governor, you cannot hide behind edge while your people hide in bushes. To the elites, you cannot chase power while ignoring the slaughter of your people. To the people, this is your state, defend it. Leadership of major markets, Baba Lodgers and Iya Lodger across the 7 local governments of Kwara South Senatorial District have shown their weight behind the call for zoning of the Kwara South Senatorial seats to the Igbomina axis in the interest of justice and fairness. The position was canvassed during a meeting with the leadership of Orisun Igbomina, where Baba Lodger and Iya Lodger of Omuaran, Ofa, and other major markets in the Kwara South Senatorial District were present. In a press statement made available to Just Event Online TV on Sunday, Iya Lodger of Ofa, Alhaja Idayat Ishola, in her remarks said it is touchsome that the other parts of Kwara South, Ibolos, and Ekiti allowed the Igbomina axis to occupy the senatorial seats come 2027. Having supported other axes in the previous election, she noted that she believes that there are competent and compassionate ants in the Igbomina axis capable of making great impact for the generality of Kwara South Senatorial District when elected, urging stakeholders in the district to support the noble call. Also speaking, Iya Lodger of Omuaran, Mrs. Kemi Oyinloye, recalled that the last 6 years have witnessed the representation of Senator Lola Ashiru from the Ibolos axis at the Senate. Following 12 unbroken years of Senator Simon Ajibola from the Ekiti axis, by the end of Senator Ashiru's tenure in 2027, Oyinloye noted that it should have been 20 years of senatorial representation without inclusion of the Igbominas. Oyinloye appealed to Kwara South stakeholders to employ the spirit of brotherhood that the senatorial district is known for to ensure the right thing is being done by ceding the Kwara South senatorial seats to the Igbomina axis. The Baba Lodger of Oke-Ero, Ogunniyi Lawrence Olayinka, who lamented the neglect suffered by the marketsmen and women in the hands of incumbent National Assembly members of the senatorial district, also noted that the call for shifting the senatorial representation of Kwara South to Igbomina axis is a welcome development. He expressed readiness to join hands with all well-meaning Kwara Southners to ensure Igbominas produce the next senator for Kwara South in 2027. Since June 2024, Orisun Igbomina, through its national president, Chief Benga Awoyale, has been advocating for zoning of the Kwara South senatorial seats to the Igbomina axis come 2027. In 2027, for us in Kwara South, it is Igbomina's turn to ensure the long-standing imbalance in power rotation in the state is resolved, and there is no better time to achieve that than now. Going down the memory lane, Awoyare added, Kwara South is a tripod consisting of Igbomina, Ekiti, and Ibola extractions. Since the return of democracy in 1999, we had 4 senators within that 25 years, out of which Igbomina only served 5 years, while Ekiti and Ibola served 12 years and 8 years respectively. By the time Senator Ashiru, who is an Ibola man, completes his second term, it will be 12 years spent by the Ibolas in Kwara South State. It is therefore utterly unfair for anybody to be plotting continued marginalization for the most populous segment of Kwara South. The International Monetary Fund has warned that climate-related shocks can worsen Nigerian fiscal health and economic stability. According to the IMF's 2027 Article IV report, the impact of extreme weather events threatens to undermine growth, fiscal sustainability, and financial sector, deepen Nigerian debt crisis. The IMF report stated that climate events significantly affect Nigerians' growth outlook, balance of payments, and financial sector, warning that such risks could stabilize the country's economy. And that is all on Just Events Online Weekend News at 9. Here is a recap of the news headlines. Tinubu directs completion of abandoned projects in Niger Delta. Federal government under fire as NNPC confirms refineries not working. Honorable Ahmed Aluko empowers 600 verified farmers with fertilizer support in Ilorin East and South. Reps move to strip president of power to appoint INEC chair. Senate await judgment CTC on Natasha's recall, spokesperson says. Kwara is bleeding and government is complicit. Kwara alternative raises alarm over escalating insecurity. Kwara South Senate 2027, market leaders back call for zoning to Igbomina Aziz. Climate change may deepen Nigeria debt crisis, says IMF. For more news, visit www.justeventsonline.com. And to read more updates, follow us on our social media platform with a tap at Just Events Online. You can also send us an email on justeventsonline@gmail.com. I am Rashidat Muraino. Good night.